Good afternoon, everyone. So, how is the day? Great. I really want to thank the Kalam Institute for inspiring young minds, and Dr.G.Satheesh Reddy garu, and all the supporters for enabling me to come over here and to have this program today. I specifically want to thank Dr.Satheesh Reddy, who has been my close friend for many years. In fact, he has been telling me to be part of this movement. I am really happy last 2 years I could be connected to you only through video meeting. But this year he said you must come. In fact it was scheduled, but I couldn't come. Then it was postponed. So first I want to tell you sorry for being not honoring my original word, but then due to other commitments of a launch. But then today it is happening, and I'm really happy to be in Hyderabad amongst your midst and to see you, to interact with you. Now I was wondering what I should speak to you young people. I think you people know much more than I know. So I really don't know what I should tell you. All of you have with great ideas, a lot of enthusiasm, having educated very well. But what is important for you to understand the changing scenario of the universe, the world? I would like to tell a few points about it, and after that I would like to interact with you, you listen to your questions, and if you have any questions I would like to answer them. I think that's why I want to do, not really to give a big long speech. See, I have been working in this rocket business, space business for the last 38 years. It's a very long years now. And when I came in, Dr. Kalam was just there at ISRO. In fact, I used to sit in the same building where he used to sit. And I also happened to be the 4th generation Kalam of designing a rocket for ISRO. After his SLV-3 era, we started designing the PSLV, so I was part of that team. After that, the GSLV came. Then the GSLV Mark 3 came, the LVM-3 came. And I was destined to be the project director. And when we designed the rocket LVM-3, all the learning that happened in SLV-3 were behind us. In fact, it's one of his young boy who was there with Kalam at that time, Shri Ramakrishnan, was my boss. In fact, many of his chelas of Kalam were there around us as my gurus and mentors. So I know today, when I speak to people about Kalam, I had lived in the midst of many, many Kalams. So, in fact, to talk about him from a person from ISRO is actually talking about ISRO itself. The Kalam is inseparable from these two entities, ISRO and Space and Defence. And why all of us get inspired by him is simply because of one simple reason. He is a human operator. He is not a technologist. He works on people. I think that is the fundamental magical thing that Kalam is. And he understands everybody very, very well. And he can read a person very well. And he can put him at the right place and show him the right path. I think that is what Kalam was. And all through his years, I learned about Kalam from words of mouth from his people who were mentored by him. Even today, some of his colleagues who worked with him at great reverence speak about Kalam, about many of his qualities. He will tell you how he picks people to put in teams, and what type of conflicts that will issue that are likely to happen between different types of people, different nationalities, states, people from different states speaking different languages, having different background and cultures, some of them from cities, some from villages. When they assemble together to build a rocket, it's not the rocket alone that they build a community, and they build complex equations amongst themselves towards reaching that goal. And he watches all of them. He continuously watches all of them. And look at this type of issues, small issues that are likely to come. And he resolves them very, very silently, very, very peacefully. And this is his trick. And he also challenges the establishment all the time. For example, when you have to design a rocket called SLV-3, what ISRO was doing at that time was not enough. New institutions, new approaches, new methods had to be created. And Kalam encouraged all of this. I know today many of the approaches that ISRO tests to design a rocket, to configure it, to design it, test it, to prove it, all came out when he was the project director. SLV3 time, I think many of you may not know, design review itself was not there in ISRO at that time. Somebody makes a design, people think that this can be designed only by him, and who is the reviewer? A reviewer was not existing at all. Somebody who has an expertise, how can it be reviewed by another person who is not an expert? This was a big question and a debate during SLV3 time. And he decided that we are going to institute design review committees, and it will be designed and reviewed by people who doesn't know even to that extent that the designer knows about it. But it brings out many deficiencies in the fundamental of the design. He created quality systems. At that time, nobody talks about quality, but Kalam understood the importance of quality. He created quality teams. He created configuration control, which is, everybody knows how to control configurations today. But even at that time, 1970s, he created configuration control approaches. I think all these are important for a project like SLV3. But what is most important is he created fantastic human beings. And many of the people I know personally who were trained by Kalam, Dr. Madhavan Nair, who became the project director of PSLV and later chairman of ISRO, was one of his right hand. Dr. Srinivasan, who was the next in line to Kalam in the SLV3 project, was my project director. Shri Narayana Murthy, Shri Veera Raghavan, Shri Janardana, there are so many people. I think all of them were my gurus and mentors. So I am really fortunate to be mentored by Kalam and his children, really. I think all of you are blessed today because Kalam is still around us to inspire us. I want to tell you a few things about our nation. I think we have a lot of water has flown, a lot of development has taken place. I think all of us know where the space is, where the defense ecosystem today in this country is. And India is today a strong nation. It is not the nation when it was during the times of Kalam in 1970s. I still remember the vision he put forward for 2020, how we should be, what type of developed nation we should be. Today in 2024, when we stand, we know today we are the 5th economic power of the world. Our gross domestic product are one of the highest today. Our growth rate today in this world in economy is reaching 6 to 8% per annum, which is something very phenomenal. We have made so much of impact in the world by our Chandrayaan-3. All of you know we are the first nation to land on the south pole of the moon in our third attempt. Though it is a third attempt, Chandrayaan-3, it is not the third attempt, it is the second attempt. But we were able to land softly and then do all the experiments in landing on the moon. We were able to launch the very first mission to Mars and make it successful. There is no other country has done this successful. We had one of the important mission of the Agni 5 with a multi-targeting capability launched successfully recently. It's again a derivative of the missile development program that Kalam started in DRDO. We have the indigenous fighter aircraft, the LCA, flying very well. The Mark 1 version has recently displayed its successful flight. And we are going to have AMCA developed soon. Look at the domain of medicine, the vaccination. When COVID struck us all across the globe, India was able to vaccinate all its people, all its citizens safely, very safely in very short period of time. And we were able to come out of the COVID issue. And the economic impact the COVID had on every nation was very phenomenal. But India is one of the nations where the economic impact has been significantly contained. And we were able to bring back the growth rate back on track much faster than many other nations. Today, India is taking bold steps to get into electronics revolution. Possibly all of you know today, India is slowly becoming a manufacturing hub for electronics in the world. Today, the export content of electronics has 10 times increased than it was in many years ago before. Our software export, of course, it has been making significant progress in the last many years. It's also making steady growth, slowly migrating from service software to technology softwares. We are now reached a 140 crore strength of people in this nation. One of the biggest nation in the world in terms of the manpower capability. And we are also blessed with this so much of people, not only by the numbers, but also with the youth percentage is one of the highest in the world. If you look at the demographics, you will understand that compared to China or Europe, the percentage of youth in India is very, very high. So this gives a big advantage to us in the next 25 years. The power of youth is something that is going to dictate the growth of a nation or growth of a country. And the entire Europe is actually aging. Their average age has reached 30 plus, whereas in India it is still below that. And we see that in next 25 years, we'll continue to remain at this level, not very deteriorated. But countries like China, countries like Japan, or even France, Germany, all of them are going to suffer because their youth percentage is very, very low. So this is another added strength to us. And with all of that, we see our nation is going to go from the 5th position of economic power, possibly to a 3rd position, or maybe better in another 5 or 10 years, maybe 20 years. But it is something that we are all waiting to happen. But the most important thing that is happening around the world is the technology disruption, which is in front of all of us. The artificial intelligence and machine learning approaches is disrupting the whole world. The space and related technologies are slowly coming up, which decides the power of a nation. For example, of people who have watched the Russian-Ukraine war possibly would have understood the power and role played by space technology in deciding the future of the warfare. And many of you would have also seen the power of economy shifting from the dollar-driven economy and Indian rupee is catching up with certain high level of positioning itself as a world rupee or world instrument of transaction. And we also see the stability of the rupee is also increasing compared to many other world currencies. It all indicates certain changes that are happening in the world in terms of India becoming a very powerful country. But when a powerful country is created not by these factors alone, but it's also driven by another important factor called technology. You will also understand slowly the technology that a nation creates is going to drive its economy. If you look at nations like the United States of America, the real economy is driven by innovation that are taking place in industries and in institutions such as the universities. I'm sorry. So those innovations are the one which will decide the future of the economy. So one of the important things that this nation need to do in the coming years is to allow these innovations to take place by connecting the academic system with the industrial ecosystem. Today we see there is a high rate of growth of industries in this country. For example, the space, if you look at the last 3-4 years, we have seen almost 200 startups coming up. After the space sector reform has happened, there is a lot of new startups in rocket building, satellite building, applications. You are also able to see in the defense area, high technology area, in the area of agriculture, in the area of the genomics, biotechnology, in terms of the production, manufacturing. We see a lot of new ideas and innovations happening in this country, and startups are happening, companies are created. In fact, one of the meetings which I attended recently in the US, where the critical technology exchange between India and American companies are discussed, I was really surprised to see some of the Indian companies who are working in the US for contributing to the high technology programs of the US. Very, very innovative companies who are working in India, building the components and contributing the US part development and companies product development that's happening in the US. It shows that it is possible for new innovations in India which can actually contribute to the economy. But that ecosystem has not developed very well in this country yet. But what I expect young people today is to look at technology as a very important tool for the growth of this nation. I would like to put in front of you a few ideas. Possibly, you know, today, though we are a 140 crore nation, the poverty level is substantially lower than in the 1930s, 40s. When we got just before independence, you know, we were just 35 crore people, but there was still poverty and death due to availability of food grain. That was very rampant in this country. Not only in this country, in part of the world as well. Today, if you look at the entire world, the food crisis has been significantly handled. It is because of the technological evolution. It is because we are able to transport food grain from one place where it is produced to other place where it is consumed much faster than that could be done maybe 20, 30, 40, 50 years back. It is actually transformed the whole food grain ecosystem. If you look at the diseases, you will find that in the last 50, 60 years back, there was so much of death happening because of diseases. Or even hundreds of years back, you will see the Europe, almost 30, 40% of the people were dying because of infectious disease. Today, infectious diseases are not killing people in the rate that it used to kill people in the past. We were able to conquer most of the diseases substantially, but there are other forms of disease coming up, like the lifestyle diseases. If you look at the domain of, say, the medical care, you will see today the medical care and access to medical care has been substantially higher than in the past, primarily because of the technology. The method of diagnostics has improved substantially. If you look at the wars, in the past, we will see in wars, thousands of people die, like the world wars and the wars before that. But today, wars are being waged, but the death rates are much lower. Of course, exceptions are always there. So all this show that even though the world is expanding, we are able to control most of the issues that we face, the humanity, by the induction of technology. And this is going to be the case in the future. And artificial intelligence is going to change everything. I think I was just looking at the new tools that are available in artificial intelligence. Really surprised to see how it can be put to use in many, many ways. One of the cases which I want to tell you is the medical diagnostics. Today, you are able to look at the simple blood sample that if you take it out, you are able to do so much of diagnostics using the databases that are available in medical AI tools. And a doctor is not necessary for you to actually bring out with a good diagnostics. And even if you take a X-ray, chest X-ray for example, recently there was one software released, which is an AI-based software. If you look at give that X-ray image to that AI software, it will tell you whether you have a tuberculosis or not. In the past, to find out tuberculosis, it took so many tests. Even today, detecting tuberculosis by even blood test, lung X-rays or checking inside, it takes many, many days. Many a time that you miss it also. But today you have an AI tool to detect even with an X-ray, you can find out a tuberculosis in a person. And if you look at the areas like a legal profession, a lawyer, and if a machine is available, an AI engine is available, you can actually create an affidavit much better than a lawyer who can create, because an AI engine can look at the entire legal history and then come out with a very beautiful affidavit that can be filed in a court. And many of the newspapers you are reading today, 50% of what is written, the articles in the newspapers are written by AI engines and not by any authors. And you are reading them as if it is written by some nice fellow. But most of these are machine written. And you will not even realize that the novels that are being published in the future will not be written by the author. It will be written by an AI machine. The poetry that you are going to read will be written by an AI machine. The movies that you are going to see will be only created in a computer, but real actors would not have never acted or even gone to that place at all. I think even today it is happening. but then much worse than that is going to see in the future. And when you go to space program also, you will see AI is going to change everything that we are doing today. So what I want to tell you is the technology is going to move the entire job scenario for people like you in the future. The traditional jobs that you think that will come to you will all be vanishing in next 5 to 10 years. This is a prediction not made by me, it is a prediction made by many generations ahead, but nothing has changed that drastically. But things are changing very slowly. The traditional job scenario is actually changing substantially. And new skill sets are required for everyone to prepare for the future. So I want to tell you today in this talk, prepare for the future. This is what Dr. A.P.J. Kalam also told you. To prepare this, you must understand your potential. To prepare that, you need to understand your passion. And you have to create an environment in which this passion can be encouraged. I can tell you all of you cannot become AI engineers in the future, but some of you will become artists, some of you will become lawyers, some of you will become doctors, some of you will become Fauji, some of you will become engineers. But whatever you do, you must do with great passion. And once you have that passion, you will really reach great heights. But very important thing is, don't think that only you are the one which is best in the world. Everyone with a different type of skill sets are equally good. And you also should know that how to work across multiple domains. One of the skill I tell my engineers in ISRO is not to become specialized in one area, but specialize in one area, but also understand multiple domains at the same time. And then only you can actually bring a lot of people together to do some great missions. Even today, I know this program was organized by this foundation, but hundreds of people have worked in different activities. Some of you have done stage management, some of you have done anchoring, some of you have done inviting friends and colleagues, some of you have organized the finance support, some of you have done the video work, some of you would have done the stage management. But different skill sets of people come together to do something very great. So one of the important skill sets in the future is teamwork. You must know how to organize as a team, how to understand and respect others with a different skill set, and then give leadership to take them to reach a goal. This is important for today. And you have to identify people who have an ability to do that. In schools, in colleges, in institutions, in industries, everywhere this is required. I wish all of you a great future today. I don't want to prolong my speech for a long time. Now I want to give you some time for asking questions, and we will have a discussion maybe for the remaining time. Thank you so much, and I want all of you, inspired by the words of the Kalam, and also very dedicated work of Naresh ji, who has been pushing his passion to move all of you towards this cause of inspiration and to find a right path for you in your careers. All the very best to you, and I want to wish all the best for this movement. Let it take many, many different forms in the coming years, and great success should follow it. Thank you so much. I'm ready to ask them.